Welcome to Book Talk. We're sitting down with Tina Gallegos from the Denver Library. We're talking about our book of the month, which was
Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson.
Okay, first of all, give me your thoughts off the bat, what you thought about this.
So much better than I thought. I actually love the shifting perspectives. So it kept my attention going.
I agree. She weaves a story like I've never read before. I would be reading parts of this thinking, what does this have to do with anything? And then at the end, it all came back together.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so when we were chatting about this before, there is a lot about secrecy in here, and we're going to have spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, we are definitely giving things away right now. Okay, so what was the most surprising, saddest, or interesting part of Eleanor Bennett's past that she revealed during her recording? What did you think about that?
Personally, for me, it was the fact that she had to disappear 3 separate times. It was just so shocking, and the circumstances behind each one, I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Yes, I thought the fact that she had another daughter and that whole story was so interesting, and then how that came to be at the end.
Yes.
Again, the weaving of all of these things, I thought that was so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How the child was conceived and then having to give it up, and just the whole, that timeline.
Yeah, she kept me guessing. I thought maybe the other daughter was Covey. Turns out we're hearing from Covey.
Yes, I know that, though, and then going back to her Caribbean roots and her childhood, everything. It was so fascinating. Okay, this part was so if you haven't read the book, and we're giving spoilers, she has a recording that tells some of her past life. So why do you think Eleanor waited to tell the story until after she died?
You know, unfortunately, I do think it's all goes back to shame.
That's exactly what I thought.
I mean, she came from another time, too, where it was even less accepted. And, you know, even of the process of, like, giving birth to her first daughter and having to give her up, you can see a lot of the ways that she was kind of talked to and, in a way, coerced to give her up, even though she didn't want to.
Yes.
And that can carry so much guilt on a person.
Right. And she thought she killed little man back then, so she had all that guilt, too, from that, even though she didn't like him and didn't want to marry him.
I thought that was Pearl.
Yes, and I think it was Pearl, too. Yeah, so I actually don't think it was Covey. I think it was Pearl.
No, I think it was Covey. I think
you think it was Covey?
Yeah. No, I think it was Pearl.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the poison was in the flowers for the icing.
Oh, yes, I think so. Yes.
That's what I think.
I agree with you. Yes.
You know, they keep it a little.
I know. So I think that there's just too, I almost think that she had too much to her life story, and we all have too much to our life stories, that if she told her kids, they would think, what on earth are you talking about? This is not our mom. So maybe it would be accepted easier if she just told it to him later. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know. I mean, even from the get-go, I was like 8 hours of a recording. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a lot.
Yes, and then when you hear the story, you're thinking 8 hours isn't enough with this whole stuff that she had to say. Okay, so obviously a lot of this was secretive. So how do you think each character keeps shape through their relationships, or keeps secrets and shapes through their personal relationships too?
Oh, I mean, I truly think that, like, all of the secrets that they had, especially from each other, really kind of kept them apart. It made them really hard to, like, actually truly love one another. Because even Eleanor/Covey kept saying this, that she felt like if she told her secrets, they wouldn't see her in that same way. And you kind of find that with every single character, where it's just like, I must hold back in order to be loved.
Right. And then Benny felt, the daughter felt that when she did come out as bisexual, that they weren't, that, you know, she had a disagreement with her dad. Well, they never got to repair their relationship, even though they both wanted to, but they just didn't know how.
And they had all of these little instances where they tried. They were there right outside the home, right outside the funeral, like so close to talking, and yet they just couldn't quite bridge that gap.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, so Covey/Eleanor was a resilient survivor, and yet she held back so many of those painful secrets. So where did you land with her? Did you admire her resiliency? Did you judge her lies? How did you feel about her at the end of the book?
I mean, I really do have to admire everything she went through and the fact that she kept going. But I really wish she would have said something before, because I think the gap between her children, for her to really feel loved and accepted, she would have had to say something eventually. And it all came kind of like at a precipice when she tried to commit suicide by going surfing in a very dangerous area. And to know that it came to that point, even Byron's friend was pointing it out, like, hey, you might want to check on your mom a little bit more. There might be more there than you think.
I agree. I think I felt for her so much, and then I felt for her because she couldn't say it. You know, she probably wanted to, and then how do I begin? And then she's thinking about all these life choices that she made and thinking, well, my daughter doesn't talk to me because I did this, but if she knew, maybe she would understand why this happened. But then at some point it's like it's just too much too late, and then I think she was funny. I think she was endearing.
Oh yes.
And I think she probably would have changed her mind on a couple things if she could have gone back as well. Yes, but it's so fascinating. This book was so good.
It's so good.
And one thing I did love was that she did eventually find the husband that she had, because she knew him back from in the Caribbean, and they were reunited.
What a wild small world, honestly.
Yes. So at least that part came together. Okay, so many of these characters in the novel struggle with their identity and how they're perceived by others. So let's talk a little bit about how the theme of identity can influence the choices of some of these characters.
Well, one of the biggest things I think that they talk about is not just about who you are, but how you are according to how people see you, how the people around you identify you.
Yes, that is so true.
And that played a huge role into how they would see themselves and how they would hold back. You know, it's just Eleanor really kind of saw herself as this very charismatic, very magnetic person. So to say anything else would have kind of clashed with that, I think, in her perspective.
Yes.
And oftentimes, I think that's what I found the most infuriating about Byron, is that he was very aware of it, and it's just so complex.
The identity part is so complicated, and I think for the parents, Covey and Bert, they still were very traditional people who were raised in a very strict Caribbean world. So they were trying to impart those things onto their kids, not realizing we're maybe not those people anymore, and they were still worried about what other people were thinking of them with their daughter's sexuality and their son having to be super straight and rigid and following what they wanted. So I think it's just no one could actually ever fully be themselves, and then the parents were in hiding. And actually, this is not to go off topic a little bit. I wish that Covey maybe would have Googled what happened back home, that there was this whole thing about murder in there, that no one actually thought she did it, and she could have come out of hiding years ago, and everything would have been okay.
And I'm like, everyone seemed to know her too, or like had seen her at one point or another. And I'm like, I feel like eventually like a little Google search, would have been just okay.
Right, and then everything could have gone back she could have gone back there. I mean, her kids eventually went back to the Caribbean, but she could have been back there and vindicated that I did not do this. Yes.
But it is scary because Little Man's family is still there, and they still seem to be up to their old ways. So
okay, so obviously this book is called Black Cake. So there is a cake at the center of this that's a traditional Caribbean rum cake. So that's also part of the book too, is family traditions, food, cooking around the table. So how do we think food and family recipes can help connect family? And that's such a theme of the books, that maybe food wasn't connecting them, but it could have at some point.
I think it kind of did, or like all of the little assemblages of their memories in the past had something to do with food, or something to do with gathering around food. I often think, like, especially in immigrant families, often like the words "I love you" aren't said out loud. Rather, it is something that is shown through actions, through your mom cooking you your favorite thing, through them spending that time showing you how to make this recipe, passing on that tradition. And I think that really was at it, where like even though Benny felt disconnected, she kept that plastic measuring cup because that kept bringing her back to that moment.
I agree.
So powerful.
Yes, and food is just, I mean, we all have to eat every day, and it's just the center of your family. And it is, we often only make our traditional things at the holidays, but if we made them more often and taught our kids maybe a little bit more, these things are what they remember. They want to have their comfort food no matter what ethnicity it comes from. Yes. Okay, so we could go on forever about this book.
Of course.
Okay, but now we have to talk about what is next month's book.
Yes. So next up, we have the Dictionary of Lost Words, about a woman coming together and kind of bringing the creation of the first dictionary and all of the words that she has to compile from this library, while also trying to hide her family background.
Okay, this one I have not read yet, so I am so excited. It's been on lots of people's lists. So next month, last Wednesday of the month, we will be back to discuss the Dictionary of Lost Words and have more book talk right here on CBS Colorado. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Lauren.